What about this? What about Manchester United? They scored an equaliser right at the death through Harry Maguire, and you're thinking, that's about done. And this is a true story. I was getting into the tube to come here, and I thought, okay, this will be it, 1-1. I come out the tube, and Fulham have scored a second.
Iwobi, 94th minute.
And it's their first victory over Manchester United in any competition, home or away, since 2009. They got all 3 points. Manchester United, only Sheffield United, have conceded more shots than Manchester United. That statistic is shocking.
Yeah, for a team like Manchester United, a club like Manchester United, you expect better. But again, they're in a tricky place. You know, there's a lot going on with that club. You know, new owners, all from the top. People need to get out. Some players who they need to get out. You know, you would say deadwood.
Who? If you're being honest, who?
Oh, well, Martial, he's been there for 9 years, but what's he really give Man United? You know, there's players like that. Jadon Sancho, why have they let him go? You know, Anthony's scored 1 goal, and that was against Newport, which is in League Two. He cost 80 million.
But Sancho's got to blame himself as well, too.
Of course.
You know, not going past any players. This is the point. He was bought. Solskjaer brought him in here for £75 million or whatever it was. The season before, the last season at Dortmund, he did not do well. The season before that, he'd been really excellent. I don't know what was playing in his mind, but he's definitely got ability. But my problem with this, Adam, is that if you're not beating players, so I still think his best position is wide left coming in. But you've got to be able to do something. Martinelli's playing in that position. You're going to tell me is Martinelli's got the same sort of natural ability? I don't know is the answer. But Sancho's got to have a look at himself and say, what he used to do is this. He didn't beat many players. He checked in and then just give it 3 or 4 yards. I could do that. I could do that there, and honestly. So what I'm trying to say to you is that he should have been out practicing his own game. All right, okay. So he's fallen out with the manager. People do. But you have to fall back in again. You have to try and do something about it. I don't know what the situation was off the field. It doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, Sancho's got to try and do something up for himself. Otherwise, his career will just disappear. These are the things. And as a manager, I think you have to look at that as well too and say, is this player helping me? If he's not helping the side, and he's causing me a few problems, then I'm going to have to try and do something. If he's causing me problems and he's scoring me goals and making goals, I think I'll put up with that. You know,
you're okay with it.
You're okay to a certain extent. You know, it was. I think it was. Doesn't really matter.
No. I want to know now. Who did you give a little bit of leeway to?
There are players at Aston Villa who just asked about being in the team and saying that I used to give a little bit of leeway to the likes of Ashley Young and players like this here. Ashley Young was doing it for me on the pitch every single week. He was playing left back, he was playing left wing, he was making goals, he was scoring goals. I said, well, son, when you started doing that there, then I'll give you the same leeway as I'm giving Ashley Young.
But there's also players that need to stand up and be counted for as well. You look at Rashford. You know, he's been a shadow of himself.
Yeah, the one who is on the left, where Sancho would prefer to play.
He's been a shadow of himself. His numbers are not great. His performances are not great. Bruno Fernandes, again, as your captain, he's not really leading by example. You know, I think he plays for himself, not the team. You look at your captain, you want to lead by example. He's more of a, if things ain't going while I'm throwing my arms up and having a sulk. That's not what your captain does. He gets the troops, he gets the players, and he rallies them up and puts in a shift, not goes running around on his own and trying to make things. So there's players in that team that need to really, look at themselves saying, this is Manchester United. I'm playing for Manchester United here. I've got to start performing like I'm playing for Manchester United. And at the moment, they've got teams are full of mishaps, and it's just not working. Sometimes you have great games, they have great results, and then they'll put in a result like this. So Ten Hag's got a little issue on his plate, and is he going to be there next season? What are the new owners going to think? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. This was a big result today. They needed to win today. Really needed to win. They put themselves back in the frame again for a top 4 against Aston Villa. They needed to win today. Doesn't matter how they get over the line, they had to get over. Didn't see the game at all, didn't know the way the scores were going. But at the end, they had to get over the line today to win. The 3 points became so important. Now suddenly those points have gone, and that little charge that you had just seems to have dissipated somewhat. That's the problem. But Manchester United shouldn't, as Jermaine said, they shouldn't be in that position. They should be actually able to overcome those teams. They should be able to do it, especially at Old Trafford.
In light of Sir Jim Ratcliffe saying some pretty heavy points about Manchester United and what he wants to do for the club, Erik ten Hag was discussing signings that are needed for the club and so forth. But what does it say, though, in his signing, his former player at a previous club was kept on the bench, Anthony, and they've decided to start a debutant from the academy and also Amad Diallo instead of said player, Anthony?
Well, it just goes to show that he's not performing. At the end of the day,
but no, what does it say about the manager and his decisions for some of the signings that he's made?
Well, the thing is, he's brought players in from the Eredivisie, which, no disrespect to that league, is nowhere near the Premier League. So what Anthony's producing under Ajax and in that league, yes, it might be great, but this is a total different kettle of fish. And obviously, he's came to the Premier League and he's been found out. So Ten Hag must have saw something in that league when he was at Ajax. But again, he's not producing that at Man United because it's a different total league. All this trickery and standing and twirling on the ball, it's not going to work here. You've got to be, ruthless. You've got to be good with the ball, efficient, end product, and that's what he's not doing. There's no end product. You don't see any assists. Like I said, he scored 1 goal this season. And that's just not good enough for £80 million. So Ten Hag's got to take some responsibility for that. He purchased them. He could have got him for a lot less, but for some reason, I don't know how Ajax waggled another 40 million. Great business on their behalf. So, yeah, Ten Hag also has got to take the blame, and I think he realises that, okay, I don't think he's good enough to play for Man United.
Ten Hag did say you have to see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is good. Do you think he has a point there, or is he trying to deflect?
Well, the team who won, I think, was it 4 consecutive games that they've won in the Premier League?
Six now?
Six was it?
Yeah, I think it's 6.
Up until today. Well, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember now.
So they were pulling round, and that gives the manager a chance to look at a bigger picture, or at least tell people about a bigger picture. We all know there isn't a bigger picture until you win the games, and you've got to keep winning. And the problem is about Manchester United is they've got to keep winning because it's Manchester United. You've got to do it. You can't win 3 or 4 games and then lose to Fulham at Old Trafford. You shouldn't. I don't know. They might have had 95% of the possession. I don't know, and maybe missed 100 goals, and maybe not. But you do not lose those games, particularly just on the back of winning some matches and putting yourself into a position. Those 3 points today are absolutely vital.
It just eradicates all the stuff, all the good stuff that you've done, all them games you've just won, losing to Fulham at home. No one remembers that. They're going to remember this now.
Couldn't agree more.
I want to also look at the bigger picture, and we have to wrap things up soon, so I have to keep it brief. The big picture is, yes, they might have won several games in a row, but they have conceded our shots against them almost about over 100. Manchester City, in total this season, it's about 195, slightly less than 200. What does that say? The bigger picture is United are conceding too many shots on their goal. Like I told you, Sheffield United, the only team to have conceded more.
Yeah, and you got to look, is their midfield good enough? Is their midfield working hard enough? Also, it starts from the front. Managers and coaches will say, you defend from the front first. So to stop shots, you close down. Midfielders, close the midfielders down, get in front of the defence, make it difficult, help our defence out. If you're letting players run through the midfield, getting balls in left, right and centre, the team's not, obviously, in cohesion. They're not working together.
And I'm wondering if that is down to the manager. Sorry, it was 5 games they've faced 100 shots. It's just 5.
Yeah, again, he's got to look at this and think, this is not good enough. Like I said, we are Manchester United. Teams shouldn't be coming into Old Trafford and getting 17 shots off in this game.
It was over 20 against Luton.
It shouldn't be happening. So he's got to watch the videos. He's got to go to training ground and said, right, this is how we'll shape up. We'll make it difficult. Don't give them any time. Don't give them any space. close them down. Just do the simple things. They are obviously not doing the simple things. I think there's with Ten Hag and the players, I really think that there's a divide. There's not a cohesion. They're not all together, because there's no way you constantly, getting 300 shots or 400 shots throughout the amount of games. A team that's together, who works hard, don't do that. Doesn't matter who you are.
Your final thoughts on this, Martin, and we have to wrap things up very soon, but I will say there were excuses made previously. Ronaldo was an issue, he's gone. De Gea, not the type of keeper that plays the Ten Hag way, he's gone, amongst others. Jadon Sancho, he's gone. I mean, when does the buck stop with the manager?
Well, okay. We started off by saying, started this conversation by saying, you got to win.
Yes.
You got to win. Manager stepping into any job, doesn't matter what division he's in, doesn't matter where, has to win football games. This idea that you used to have maybe about 20 years ago, where you're saying, I've got a project on my hands, I want to see what the youth team do. Not at all, you don't. If you want to see the youth team win some football matches, win at senior level. You've got to win. That's the name of the game. And every manager knows that. I knew that myself for years. And you have to win the football games. You win the football games, it gives you respite. It gives you a chance to develop. That's the point. And for Manchester United, you've got to win.
All right. Final question. Will he be in charge next year?
I'm going to say no.
No.
I'm going to say no. Well, it depends how the season finishes. If they finish in top 4, and then yes, 100%. If they slip lower than that, I can't.
I think they've gone off the top of my head 8 points behind Villa now for a top 4 position.
Yeah, it's going to be tight, but I don't think he'll be here next season.
Yourself, Martin?
Do you know what? And being a manager, I've got a lot of empathy and sympathy for the job.
Course.
I absolutely have. So I just don't know. I genuinely don't know. I agree with Jermaine. I think probably what will happen now in the next couple of months well, certainly the upper echelons maybe have a decision to make, but that's the nature of the business.
Yeah.